Well, today's the day. Welcome to the pink room. That color drives me nuts. And it also drives the plants nuts because they're growing really well. I'm actually, maybe because I'm a little more comfortable this year, but I am having better success with the plants growing this year than I did last year. And I think that really just comes with anything. As you continue forward and move forward learning, you can do better and better. And for me, it's gaining a bit of confidence. This is the place I'm weak. Is gardening, and there's so much to learn. It's so ginormous in my head of what there is to encompass gardening, and it was never something I really did except for cut flowers and fun before we made the switch to homesteading, and now it's more like, oh, we need to eat. No pressure. So this second year garden, I've got high hopes, but what I'm trying to learn is don't ruin it. Don't make it not fun. Just kind of go with the flow. And there are many places I can go with the flow if I'm confident with something and I'm good at it. It's like no problem, and I pick it up. And I think one of my life's lessons right now is learning when it's bumpy and rough and difficult, I just need to dig in harder and be kinder to myself instead of going, you're not getting it. I'm sure some of you understand what I'm saying. Anyway, on to what's going on. Because the plants are doing so well, I felt it was time to take some of them and repot them. Let me show you what I mean. So here's butterbush squash. Now this is a new one to me. And I also wanted to show you, I marked these with painter's tape because what I want to be able to do every year is reuse these free pots that I got out of a dumpster dive. And so I thought the easiest way for me was to just mark them, and then I put the date that I started them, which this was the 6th of March. So the 6th of March brought us here, and I got all but 2 coming up. So I think that's not bad, but it's time to separate. So in my dumpster dive that I was so fortunate to do when we first moved here 3 years ago, I got some bigger pots. I have quite a few, and I've been babying them. I'm trying to keep them in the potting shed to keep them out of the sun because they break. You know, the sun just wears them down. And in time, I'll have to figure out another way to start things, I think. But if you haven't seen before, I make my own potting soil with coconut hull. That's Hull. Comes in a bag like the one I could show you if I knew where I put it. Oh, behind the camera. Comes in a bag. I just bumped you guys, sorry. Comes in a bag like this, and it's quite a bit. I mean, I just broke off some chunks, and it's easier to work with when it's wet. If you're gonna do a giant area, you can wet the whole brick, but it makes a lot. And then I brought in my perlite and vermiculite as well, and I bought the giant, like 30 cubic foot yards, whatever, big bags of it because I just don't like to rinky-dink around. I have it on hand, it goes in the potting shed, it stays there. I know I have it when I need it, so I don't buy the little bags. I just invest in the bigger one because I feel I get more bang for my buck with some things when you buy bulk, and this was one of those things that worked out well. I'll have links below if you want to pick up any of this stuff. But it was time. So all I'm going to do is do my potting soil mix, pop in the potting soil mix to this, and take our little beauties out here and start getting them in the bigger pots ready to hopefully go in the ground end of April, beginning of May. Last year that's what was supposed to happen, and we had some kind of freaky frost come through, so I'm hoping this year we don't have that. We've had freaky frost now, and I'm got my fingers crossed that that's what's going to take place now and we can move on later. So let's get to repotting some of these and see how that goes. So why coconut hull? Well, coconut hull or coconut fiber is exactly what you think it is. It's the outside shell of a coconut, and it's ground up, and it's really cool because it's sterile. And so you're not going to have any weeds or anything coming up when you're doing your seed starting. And when you transplant into the garden, the coconut hull helps to retain nutrients as your fertilizers or compost or whatever are in the soil. It kind of helps retain nutrients within it So that helps your plant in turn grow and get a little bit better of a kickstart. Perlite is for aeration. It doesn't hold water, which is why I use vermiculite, because vermiculite absorbs the water and holds water. So you get a little bit of everything. One of the biggest reasons, going back to the coconut fiber, that I went with that is sphagnum moss is it's an industry that I'm really not siding with. It's not sustainable. Coconut hull is. Or peat moss, whatever people call it. I don't agree with how it's harvested and what's going on with that. So people eat coconuts. There's shell. There's there's the outer shell. It works. So to each their own. But it's just not something I don't want to use the peat moss. So that's why I'm using this concoction. So it's 8-to-1. I just put my 8th scoop of the coconut fiber in. So I've got a scoop of perlite, a scoop of vermiculite. Be careful with these. They're dusty. The coconut hull isn't because you wet it, but the vermiculite is really dusty. And then I usually have on my mask, but for talking purposes, I'm going to not have my mask on, but I'm going to go real careful with this. So get it all mixed up. You can see here. Oh, and I'm like the Julia Child of gardening. I'm a mess. I'm a mess. She's kind of my hero for cooking, and no insult to Julia Child, but I think Gigi will be really glad when we end up in our farmhouse and I can make my messes there. And to be honest with you, I'm really waiting for my potting shed area so I can be okay with making my messes over there. But it is a little messy if you're like me, and things kind of fly out of your hands unexpectedly, or inexplicably. They just kind of fly out. So here we go. Just gonna go ahead and fill one of these with the soil here. It's pretty exciting. I did not get to this last year. I actually didn't think about transplanting the transplants into something bigger so they had more room to grow. I don't know why that didn't dawn on me, but this year I am. And I know, okay, I'm hoping there's like one of you out there that understand how difficult it is for me to come in and cut a viable plant. Let me show you what I mean. All right, here's broccoli, calabrese broccoli. Now I should have come in here and cut these little suckers, right? No, I have such a hard time doing that. So I'm probably going to take as many as I can here that make sense and plant them in the bigger pots. Maybe I'm just the renegade gardener. I don't know. Maybe it's just a silly thing to do. Again, I don't know. Not much of a rule follower, so I'll find out. I could have it all not work out for me, and then next year I'm like coming in here with shears and just chopping everything up. But for right now, I think what I'm going to do is grab the strongest that I've allowed to kind of all grow in here. Painfully obvious to see there's not just 6 plants here because I'm a wimp. So I'm going to pot as many as I can and then take those out as well. So if anybody's had success with not coming in and cutting, let me know. I'm willing, and I suppose I should be able to go ahead and cut those if I need to. And there's the dust part. So be sure you wear your mask. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and pop this little baby out of here. And that's my squash. And I actually filled too much in here, so let's do this. Now you see how they come out. I mean, it's just like a nursery. It's so exciting. I mean, this is really cool. I'm getting more and more excited about the process, and that's huge. Any new thing can be scary, you know. And for people such as myself, that I like to succeed. I don't know anybody who takes on something and goes, yeah, I'm gonna do really bad at that, and I'm gonna enjoy that. You know, I don't think anybody thinks that, but I really like to take something on and do well, and when I feel like I'm working with something living, I don't want to kill it. So for me, it's there's an extra push there to do well with it and not mess up. And did I have some mess ups last year? I had some mess ups. So again, we'll see what's going on this year, and I really love that you guys are going on the adventure with me, and I am truly serious. I know a lot of YouTube people I've talked about say they don't get a lot of input, but if you leave a message that says you really should go cut those. I mean, I've gardened for blah years, and I've learned. I am all about learning from you. I'm just showing you what I'm doing, so you probably aren't going to do the same thing. I'm going to save you some time. Don't do this. So there's number 1 squash plant, ready and willing, and I'm going to go on and continue repotting. I think with the amount of stuff, I have a second shelf like this in the guest bedroom as well. It's probably going to be more than one day. And to be honest, my tomatoes have done meh. The San Marzano are coming up great, but I have some other really cool ones that I was excited about. I'm not seeing them come up. And this is the year of the tomato. Last year was the year of the peppers. Any of you who saw the video, saw the Instagram pictures, saw me up to literally my knees in picking every kind of pepper possible, I still have tons of peppers. I dried them or turned them into hot sauce, and I am good for probably 2 years of hot pepper anything. And oh, I also chopped and froze a bunch, and we've been going through them, but we have plenty. So this year is the year of too many tomatoes. So later on you'll hear me complain about I've got too many tomatoes. But this is the year of sauces and ketchup and diced tomatoes and whatever else I could possibly can. Really looking forward to that. So I'm gonna get back to this and finish getting as much potted up as I can.